12 months, 12 books. Let's recap 2024 together. Hi, I'm Stella, founder and chief storyteller at Stellar Storytelling, and I run the Alchemy book club. Number one, Think and Grow Rich. This was the very first book I read in 2024, and it was a pivotal book in the sense that it shifted my perspective around one of the most famous books about money. Think and Grow Rich is not about financial literacy. It's a book about understanding your metaphysical nature so that you can work with your subconscious mind. I am blown away by the impact it has had without it actually improving our understanding of our inner world. Because Think and Grow Rich is really about that. And it's a testimony to what happens when you invest time to upgrade the garden of your own subconscious mind. I can't recommend it enough. Number two, Quantum Body by Deepak Chopra. Beautiful book that can teach us a lot about health and how to take care of our bodies without losing our minds, without neglecting our hearts, or spending a fortune on pills, vitamins, and other procedures to alter our DNA. We can do a lot of healing and a lot of health maintenance by simply harnessing the power of the quantum universe. I will recommend you to give it a go. Number three, Energize by Simon Alexander Ong. So, one of the things I'm going to say is that energy is currency. So, if you feel like you're out of energy, that is a pretty big red flag that you are going away from abundance mindset and into scarcity mindset because you're not prioritizing your rest. You're not investing time in getting to know how you can optimize your own habits that protect you and protect your well-being so then you can be of service to other people and humanity. Energize offers a lot of practical tips as to how to take a look at your own routine from a more awakened perspective, how to examine your own choices in a way that always give you back energy. They don't deplete you. They don't ask of you to surrender entirely who you are in order to be of service, but rather how you can be of service by truly understanding how to master your energy management. Again, I would recommend it, but as a side note, I would say if energy is something you want to learn more about, I would urge you to look into the spiritual section a little bit more, because this isn't a book that actually speaks about the ancestral knowledge or the metaphysical, alchemical knowledge of energy. So there's a lot more to be asked when it comes to a book that teaches you about energy in 2024, 2025, perhaps you're watching this video. Great book for a beginner who's learning about energy management, but far from sufficient when it comes to actually mastering yourself at an energetic level. Number four, The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. So this is one of the more emotionally charged books, and it's a beautiful book, especially if you are trying to summon the courage to set stronger boundaries with people, you're trying to find the strength to pursue your dreams. This book will help you to break through some of the blockages and claim your authenticity and share yourself with more liberated state of mind, and with a greater openness to connect with others as your truest self. 100% recommended. Number five, The Great Work by Thomas Berry. This is a book that delivers on the promise that is going to shift your perspective around what it means to be human, what it means to serve, what it means to lead. If you're looking to create a type of business enterprise or manage one with futuristic blueprints, read this book. There are a lot of channeled messages, I would say, inside. It's a little bit like a book that was created to be so multi-layered that you cannot grasp everything on the first read. So buy a copy for your office and encourage people in your office to read it as well. It's a book about community, it's a book about co-creation, and the kind of co-creation that this book talks about is the co-creation that happens when we begin to work with our ancestors, with our higher selves. So I recommend it, but be advised, you might need more time to read it, and you might need more attempts to understand all of it. Number 6, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. This book should be in universities. It should be at school. It's the perfect book to introduce you to what it means to feel your emotions and how the emotions impact your body, your nervous system. There is just enough theory, just enough psychology, but also a lot of practicality in it in a way that you don't need to be a master. You don't need to have a master's degree in psychology to understand this book. If anything, we all should have this basic level of understanding as to why we feel what we feel and what are our emotions trying to tell us at any given moment. I recommend you to read this book and buy a copy for every single person that you care about, because it's going to give them guidance as to how to human better. Number 7, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. This was the second time I had read the book. It's just one of those books that remind you to treasure the present moment, to treasure creativity, to treasure your imagination, and to not take life for granted. If you're depressed, seriously, read a couple of pages from the Big Magic, and you're going to see that you're taking life too seriously. And I think one of the antidotes to depression actually is expression. And so Big Magic encourages us to express ourselves. It challenges us to think about what perfection really means and why perfection is overrated and why perfection blocks us from who we are. So read it, reread it, and have a copy near you for the days when life gets a little bit darker, because you're going to get those days. Even if you find your purpose, even if you find your community and people, even if you find the perfect routine, you're going to have the bad dark days, and a copy of the Big Magic is going to serve its purpose. When you turn to it for guidance, it will remind you that the light is always within, that you are the source of it. Number 8, Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This was one of my surprise books. This was a book that I introduced as part of the Inner Child Healing, so a book that my inner child chose for me. It's an interesting book. I initially struggled with it, and it took me a long time to read the whole book, and I'm glad I powered through it. I would recommend it, and I won't spoil anything from it. It's about a group of young people that are trying to innovate through their games, but it explores human connections and relationships in a very unique and thoughtful way. So I would recommend you to give it a go when the right time comes. Number 9, The Courage to Be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Hopefully I got that right. I'm not going to analyze that. What I'm going to say about this book is that it's a beautiful book. And many self-help writers, personal growth writers, authors, storytellers should read this book as a framework how to structure their books. It's a book that teaches us. It's a book that illuminates us, enlightens us, and it invites us to be more open. It reminds us that we're not meant to go through life alone, yet it fuels a fire in us to set a boundary with anyone who dares to question our authenticity or ask of us to dim our own light because it feels uncomfortable to them. 2025 is the year to shine as bright as ever. And if people don't like that, let them. I would absolutely recommend this book. Number 10, The Golden Future by Diana Cooper. This is probably the most New Earth book I've read Absolutely recommend it. A lot of channeled messages inside, a lot of missing puzzle pieces when it comes to connecting the dots between past, present, and future. And there is a lot of wisdom collected in this book that is bound to unlock something related to your purpose, your belonging on earth, and how you can align more with a new earth type of leadership during your lifetime. Number 11, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. A timeless book, one might say, and they would be correct. Again, I kept reading this book and I kept thinking, why is nobody talking about this book? And I know that they are, but it's almost like one of those books that are hidden from conversations, from the bookstore. They're not books that are highlighted, even though they're so important. And while Think and Grow Rich is one of the books that has passed the test of time and is established as a book that everyone should read, Conversations with God has kind of maybe triggered some religious institutions, maybe some people that love to benefit from a state of chaos in the world. Conversations with God teaches you how to reconnect with your own higher self and how to establish your connection with God, the Most High, Source, your spirit team, in a way that allows you to make sense of what's going on in your life to begin with. I would recommend it, and I would probably tell you that because this is a timeless book, it's a book that you can turn to for multiple questions at multiple points in your life. Number 12, DallerGut Dream Department Store by Maya Lee. So this was another fiction book that I chose, and it was a very pleasant surprise. There was just enough metaphysical ideology in it, connecting the past, present, and future. And there was even a Christmas story as well. So it was perfectly timed as my December read. It's an easy book. It's much easier than Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow. And if there are two fiction books that you read, and they are Tomorrow, 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 and DallerGut Dream Department Store, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. It's a book that explains why we dream. And no, I'm not talking about metaphorical dreams. I'm talking about why we dream at an emotional level, the benefits, and how to manage a dream store. It will absolutely expand your imagination. And so these are my 12 books of 2024. What did you read? Did you find any of the books that I mentioned interesting on your journey? Did they make it on your reading list in 2024? Leave a comment and subscribe to Stellar Storytelling for more books, ideas, and stories.